We should be writing.
We should be writing.
We should be writing.
Hi everybody. Welcome back to another I Should Be Writing. Come on now. Attaboy. I just congratulated myself for... doesn't matter. I am Nick Boddick of... I'm just who I am. I'm Nick Boddick. NickBoddick.com. Nick Boddick across all social medias. I got my Facebook back, which means, it means I also got my Facebook business account back. The Nick Boddick horror page, which I've updated more in the last 2 days than I have in the last year and a half. That's because I am currently doing the last push of promotion for this little guy right here. This is Daughter's Drawings, my debut novel, which is going to join the masses of self-published drivel from authors across the globe. But in my defense, I've had a few helping hands from people like, you can't see it. Can you see it? John Langan, who I think I mentioned last time is truly one of the best horror authors in the world, and also from Matt Bartlett, who self-published, I don't know if he did the second one. He self-published Gateways to Abomination, which is arguably the best most successful self-published horror book ever, I think, maybe. So Matt's been helping me with that. He's a really cool guy. He is the shit. I want to take a trip to Leeds one of these days. No one's going to get that unless you've read the books, which you should. Matthew M. Bartlett is his name. He's the man. Shout out to Matt. I have some other blurbs coming. C.B. Jones gave me a good blurb. That was shout out to Steve B. Jones. Rules of the Road. Also read that. Felix Blackwell. This book wouldn't be possible without Felix. He gave me he wrote out a guide towards how to develop a novel from a no sleep story. It's incredible. The book would not exist without him. So shout out to Felix. Read Stolen Tongues. Read In the Devil's Dreams. Read The Cold People. Read everything Felix has ever done. And of course, Dathan. This is basically just the dedications page or the acknowledgements page in the back of Daughter's Drawings. But anyway, so yeah, pre-order that. It comes out on July 7th. You can pre-order the ebook because Amazon doesn't allow pre-orders on physical copies for God only knows why. It's frustrating. But that's a story for another day. So today, last time I did a solo podcast, I did the most, a Reddit search thing of the most disturbing movies of all time. I had fun doing that, and I want to do that again, but with something different. Horror related still, of course, because I'm a one-trick pony, if nothing else. Today we're just going to do scariest movies. We're going to keep it broad, but see where it takes us. So let me share the old screen here. Incognito tab so you guys can't see the dirty deeds I get up to. There we are. Alright, so I did type this in before. Scariest movies Reddit. Damn, I hope nothing showed up and then... Oh, fuck, dude. Right off the bat, Possum? I can see that being someone's scariest movie. That is the creepiest fucking... I can't even, have that picture up there. The fucking... The marionette, the thing, is so fucking creepy, dude. 54 answers on this one. Did some asshole say Star Wars is the scariest movie ever? Oh, I bet it was the prequels. The prequels are not that bad. And neither was the sequel series, so fuck off. I saw a really good quote from someone that said, nobody hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan, which is 1,000% true. Boom, right there. If you've listened to any of the other podcasts I've done, you will know that Insidious 1, the first Insidious, is 10,000% far and away the scariest movie I've ever seen. It is fucking horrifying. When Patrick Wilson is walking through the further and he's holding up the globe. What? They did it in olden days. Oh my god, this is gonna drive me nuts. It's not a globe. Why? I can't remember the word for it. This is gonna drive me fucking crazy. The handheld light thing that he's walking around with, and he has a lantern. He's holding up a lantern. Idiot. He's holding up a lantern and he's walking through the further, and he holds it up to this woman's face, and she's just standing there like smiling, super creepy. And there's like this violin riff that comes with it, and it's just scariest scene in a movie I've ever seen. That bitch's face haunts my dreams. And I don't say bitch as a generalization for women. I say bitch because she is a bitch for scaring me that bad. And so he holds it up to that asshole's face there, less gender specific. I'm not trying to be facetious either. It sounds like I'm being condescending and sarcastic. I'm not. That's it, I'm not. Okay, so let's see. I don't know why I started scrolling already. Catwoman with Haley, joke answer. Woke up right as baby was coming out. Yeah, birth video. I can see that being scary. That's kind of dumb though. The Descent. The Descent was that movie captured the feeling of claustrophobia very well. I mean, I assume. I'm kind of a claustrophobic person. It's not as bad as some of my other fears, but there's such it almost instills the feeling of claustrophobia into you, even if you don't know what it means, and it does it so effectively. It's about this group of women who goes spelunking, cave diving, and they end up, deep underground, obviously, and in like this cave system. I don't remember where it's at, but they find they're not alone in the caves or whatever. It's a genuinely scary movie. That's a solid answer. And The Ring being a close second for this person. The Ring absolutely is scary as hell. Yeah, dude. That, I remember I saw that I was in 7th grade, I think, when The Ring came out, and I went to see it with my cousin. And I did my best the whole time not to, just to act like it wasn't fazing me, because I didn't want my cousin to think I was a bitch. Which I learned years later, he was doing the exact same thing. And so we're both sitting there watching it, trying to pretend like it's whatever, it's not even that scary. And oh man, dude, that movie scared the shit out of me. It was the video itself, the contents of the video itself. What do you call it? The vignettes that the video showed. And, oh, fuck me, dude. I just fucked up. Hang on. I'm an idiot. I did it again. So dumb, dude. Window. Fucking so dumb. Sorry about that. There we go. Alright. I'm an idiot. Alright, so this is the page I'm on. It's the scariest movies you've ever watched. And we are right here. So yeah, the contents of the video itself, with all the real brief clips you see of, it was so effective in just the sheer, like, what the fuckness of it all. And I remember, like, just the concept of this video being like a supernatural video was fascinating to me even back then. That was before I really like got into horror like that. That was such a damn good movie. Like, and there's so many, like, the word iconic is thrown around a lot, and it shouldn't be, because it's like the word goat being thrown around. And oh my god, it drives me fucking crazy when people will be like, oh, he's one of the goats. And, like, there can only be one goat. The greatest of all time. And like, one of the goats, you know what that means? It means the greatest of all times. Which grammatically, I don't know, it just drives me nuts. And yes, I know language evolves, and the meaning of things changes, and it's being used colloquially, and whatever. I don't care. It's annoying, and I don't like it, and I want it to stop. Also, stop calling everything iconic. Stop calling everything underrated. Not everything is iconic, and some things are rated quite accurately. They're rated quite well. So yeah. There's some visuals and some shots, some scenes in The Ring that are like burned into the zeitgeist, basically. Obviously, Samara crawling her damp ass out of that well. The one that I always remember that I feel doesn't get like enough love really is when Naomi Watts is on the boat or the ferry. I think it's been a while since I've seen it, and the horses all start like killing themselves. That was oof. And then the mom like brushing her hair and like looking into the mirror. I remember the fact that you, like, they point out that you're viewing, like, the shot in the video in the movie is being taken from right in front of a mirror, and they point out in the movie that, like, you should be able to see the camera, so, like, where is it recording from? And that fact, like scared me to, like, a real life level. I don't know what it was about that really got into my skin as bad as it did, but, like, even in my head, I was like, well, how did they even do that for the movie? Like, how, like, I don't know, it was stupid. I was a dumb kid. Like, obviously it was CGI and probably green screening and painting out, and it'd be so easy to do that now, actually. Like, I could do that. But yeah, The Ring is a great. Oh my god! And the girl's face, and when they open the closet, that's another thing. Like, I can't do it. Cannot do it. I'm so tired, dude. Sorry, I need to wake up a little bit. So of course, here we are. Monster needs to sponsor me. Seriously. After the amount of money I've put in Mr. Monster's pocket, it's the least they could do. Like either that or just like pay for the kidney stone surgery I'm eventually going to need, because I'm going to need kidney stone surgery someday, I promise. Not a movie, but The Haunting of Hill House. Yeah. Haunting of Hill House. Shout out to C.K. Walker, who wrote the seminal No Sleep classic Baraska. She was a writer on The Haunting of Hill House. She's also providing a blurb for Daughter's Drawings. Should have that in the next, hopefully day or two, because the manuscript is just about due. So, Jacob's Ladder that's a terrifying movie. That's such like a, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Jacob's Ladder starring Tim Robbins is such like a hallucinogenic acid trip feel of a movie. And that's another one where the visuals, while they may not have left quite an impact on like pop culture like The Ring did, people who saw Jacob's Ladder and were like susceptible to the story it was telling. Oh, hi, Mr. Beans. It's the images from that movie are burned into our brains forever. They made a remake of it and like Michael Ealy is great. I always like Michael Ealy. He was Ricky, I think was his name, in the Barbershop series or trilogy, and like Michael Ealy, he's just those eyes. I mean, be still my beating heart, Michael Ealy. He was in the remake, and it was just terrible. It was so bad. But the original with Tim Robbins is outstanding. It's a great one. And like it really can be compared, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of different kinds of acid, and like LSD and ecstasy and Molly. Just want to point out, ecstasy / Molly does not make you hallucinate. Anyone who tells you it doesn't know what they're talking about, or their MDMA was cut with something hallucinogenic. I candy flipped for like 3 days straight once. And that was the only time I've ever hallucinated, really. And it took a mixture. Candy flipping is acid, ecstasy, or it's a combination of acid and ecstasy. And I did that, and then I combined that with just like, I didn't sleep for literally like 72 hours. And then that was the only time I started hallucinating, and it was terrifying. I was aware that what I was looking at wasn't real. It was, I don't even remember what it was I hallucinated, but I just remember the feeling of being so terrified in that moment. Speaking of which, the most scared I have ever been in my entire life. I guess the second most scared I've ever been in my entire life. First thing, not an interesting story, just sad. But the second most scared I've ever been, we had taken a bunch of ecstasy. We were at my apartment, and we took a bunch of ecstasy. Well, this was in the middle of me and my old friend Luke. Rest in peace, Luke. Miss you, brother. Luke and I had been on a ecstasy binge. It was a 43-day binge. It was probably, I don't know, like towards the end. And that night we also did some acid. And we didn't have anything planned. Like, usually when we did acid, it would be if we were going to like a rave or something. But this night was just, we had it and had nothing to do, so we did it. Yeah, that's right. I remember it was a group of probably like six to eight of us, whatever, and we were all gonna sit down and watch Inception. So I'm sitting in this chair, like this recliner chair, and we're all sitting there watching Inception. Mind's being blown, and I remember we smoked a little weed. Excuse me. And so I'm sitting in this chair, and this is after I smoked, and I think that what caused this was the smoking, which would be so ironic if so. But anyways, I'm sitting in the chair, and our friend Olivia was off in another room or something, and Luke was sitting behind me. And Olivia walks up, and I don't know if she wants me to say her name. Oh well, whatever. Miss you. Hope you're doing good, Olivia. She walks up to Luke, and she asks him something. It doesn't matter what she asked him, I don't remember. But he answers her, and like I remember sitting there, my eyes are on the movie, and then I'm like, wait a second. And I turn around, and I'm like, what did she just ask you? Like, not in like an accusatory way, but just like, did I hear that right? And then she repeated whatever she asked, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I look back at the movie, and then I'm sitting there thinking, and I look back, and I'm like, wait, what did she just ask you? And they're like, what? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Nick? And I slowly came to realize that I couldn't remember anything. Like, all I was aware of, like, I couldn't form like new memories. I was only aware of what was happening in that very moment. Like, with like, there was like 3 seconds on either side of the moment that I was in that I could recall. Not on either side. You can't remember something that happened 3 seconds in the future. I can only remember like 3 seconds back. And like, I got it into my head that like I was sitting there, I was like gripping the armrest because like I was so scared. And I remember eventually my brain locked on to the phrase, I have to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be like this forever. And I kept like repeating that to myself. I have to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be like this forever. I have to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be like this forever. And I was like, I think like somebody noticed that I was like gripping the armrests of the chairs so tight I was about to like rip them off. And they're like, what's going on? And then I started saying that out loud, like, I have to work tomorrow. I'm going to be like this forever. I have to work tomorrow. I'm going to be like this forever. And my friends, God bless them, my old friends, I should say, who I wish nothing but the best to, but, you know, we're not really friends anymore. Their solution was to, like, no more drugs for Nick that night. Smart. Except, like, okay, I should say no more hallucinogens, or, I guess, no more, like, party drugs for Nick that night. Which, again, smart. But they thought, to calm me down, let's give him a bunch of Xanax. So, busted down a bunch of Xanax, sniffed a bunch of Xanax to calm me down. And I remember it probably lasted like 2 hours. This weird, like, inability to remember anything at all. And that was the most scared I have ever been. And I did have work the next day, and I was not like that forever. The story probably isn't doing my feelings justice in that moment, or my feelings in that moment justice, but it was horrifying. Like, the thought that I would never be able to remember anything. Like, that's, ugh, no thank you. No thank you. That was the ladybug from Big Mouth that I was doing a poor impression of. Ooh, The Fourth Kind. That solid movie, underrated. So the scariest thing about The Fourth Kind to me, besides like, I mean, the owl was creepy as shit. The imagery of the owl in that movie is used extremely well, but the scariest thing of that whole movie for me is so it's like a mockumentary type movie. It's like mockumentary / like reenactment, found footage kind of. It's a weird format. Good, but weird. It's the quote-unquote real version of Mia Jovovich's character. And she is being interviewed, and they show her like sporadically throughout the movie, and she's like this gaunt, pale. I remember her being like sweaty. Her eyes are like bugging out, kind of, and like just her face. Um, that's another thing that's just like burned into my mind. Scared the shit out of me. I remember we watched that at 41st, which I don't know if you can see it. I have tattooed right there. And Luke did that tattoo, which rest in peace again, Luke. So yeah, oops, someone's getting nice. No one cares. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, definitely watch The Fourth Kind. It's an underrated one. British nuclear apocalypse TV movie Threads. I think I've seen clips from Threads. I've never seen the whole thing. Martyrs. We talked about Martyrs last time. I don't know if that'd be like the scariest though. That's just the most like, oh. Yeah, like last week, the last time I should say. It's like, it's more disturbing than it is scary. Okay, scariest movie is this guy, or this person, makes a list. The Ring, I already talked about. The Blair Witch Project. Oh, man. I remember my dad was very insistent that I not be allowed to watch The Blair Witch Project. We didn't live together. He lived in another city at the time. And 1999, I would have been 10 years old. Oh no, because I remember I was in 6th grade, so I was 12 years old, I think, and 11 or 12. And I remember my uncles, I think, watched it with me. And my uncles, who are, for all intents and purposes, they're like my brothers. I grew up with them, lived with them. Like, we all lived together and shit. And I remember I was totally okay for the first 99% of the movie. And then they go, spoiler alert, for a movie that is over 20 years old. I don't know math. 25 years old. Cat hair on my microphone. Sorry. But they go to the cabin at the end of the movie, and Mike is standing in the corner facing, and that image again burned into my mind, scared the fuck out of me, and I had nightmares. I wish I would have listened to my father. It was just traumatic, and not really though, because not everything is trauma. Trauma is a very real thing. Seeing a scary movie is, I don't want to discredit anybody's trauma. I walk such a tightrope. I try to be so progressive and understanding, but man, some people just, they make people, I'm getting off track, sorry. Scary movies. Scary movies, goddammit. There's a piece of hair next to the light that's bugging me. Okay. And, alright, so The Exorcist. Oh, the Blair Witch Project was really cool, because it was the first instance of a movie, or I guess a film studio, utilizing the internet to promote their movie. And they did so by posting, like, fake websites and fake, just all kinds of fake stuff. Like websites, news articles, missing persons things. They kept it doesn't have to do with the internet, but they kept the stars of the movie like Heather Donahue. I don't remember the other two names. The other two's names. They used real people, I think, if I remember right, to film the interview portions before they're out lost in the woods. And they kept these three main leads of the movie out of the public spotlight in the lead up to the film coming out, and which was genius. I remember everybody debated if they thought it was real or not, and it was advertised like as being real. It was before found footage was a genre, really. There had been, like, Cannibal Holocaust is arguably the first found footage horror movie. But Blair Witch Project is the one that put it on the map, for sure. And then they followed it up with the landmark transcendent classic Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, which it's a continuation of the first film in not even as a joke, it is a terrible, terrible film. Truly one of the worst of all time. But you know what? The 2016 version does not get enough love. I'll say it now, I will say it again, and I'll say it until the day I die. Blair Witch 2016 is a movie where the term underrated is actually appropriate. It stars my buddy, my boy, Brandon O. Scott, who you might know from the incredible TV series, the third and fourth seasons of the incredible TV series Channel Zero. He was a part of both Butcher's Block, based off of The Stairs in the Woods, kinda, and The Dream Door, which is truly the best 6 hours of horror television ever made. Period. Full stop. Flat out. He is outstanding in everything. He was also on, like, This Is Us. Right now he's in Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton. Brandon is the shit. Shout out to Brandon. He probably, like, because we keep in touch a little bit, me and him, and he's probably like, this guy is such a fucking weirdo. He's like, I don't know. He's just a cool guy, and I interviewed him for 100% True once, and we had a great conversation. It was a great conversation on my end anyway. He was probably, this guy's a fucking dork. But Brandon was cool, and he was in the 2016 Blair Witch, and killed it. Just crushed it as Tom. And, was his name Tom? Or was that his character in Channel Zero? I can't remember. Sorry, Brandon. But yeah, Blair Witch Project is a landmark movie, and it's absolutely scary. It belongs on a scariest movie of all time list. Yeah. The Exorcist. I mean, I guess no real list of scariest movies of all time is going to be complete without The Exorcist, I guess. It personally did not. It scared me when I was a kid because it is objectively unsettling imagery for a child. But I think as an adult, maybe it's because I watched it after I was so desensitized to horror and everything, I didn't find it all that scary on a second watch. The one thing that stuck in my mind as a kid was I saw the Audition of Linda Blair, like, spider walking down the stairs. Like, I can't show it sitting down. It's impossible. But you know what I mean? Like, where her back is bent backwards, and she's like, I am going down the stairs, I am going to on you, like, or whatever. That scared the shit out of me. I have this memory of my uncles putting that movie on and then, like, locking me into my grandparents' room. I have that memory, but I don't know if it actually happened or not. I don't think they did. I'm making my uncles sound like kind of like dickheads. They're not. They're the best. I remember when they would babysit me, they would let me watch Beavis and Butthead. I love those guys. They're truly the coolest. I don't think the thing with The Exorcist happened. I think I'm just conflating like my own memories with like a story I heard somewhere or something. Because I can't imagine them doing that. I know they showed me Blair Witch though. At least the younger of the two did. That I'm positive about. Anyways, but yeah, The Exorcist. It's a classic story. That's for sure. And a classic film. William Peter Blatty did an outstanding job. Um, wait, is he the direct? No. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure he wrote the book. William Friedkin, that's it. I think. Yeah, William Friedkin. Okay, William Peter Blatty wrote it, and I knew he wrote the book, yeah. Okay. Ellen Burstyn was amazing, as she always is. Alright, House on Haunted Hill. Yeah, that's scary. The Haunting. Terrible film. Just absolutely awful, based on the same. No, wait, no. Haunting of Hill House is different than The House on Haunted Hill, I think. Oculus, which is, I believe, Mike Flanagan's second horror, or his second feature film. That one stars Karen Gillan and Brenton Thwaites, and aka Nebula and Nightwing, respectively. I'm not such a nerd, dude. And it's about a haunted mirror, basically. And it sounds like a simple premise. It's different than the movie Mirrors, featuring Jack Sutherland. Or fucking Jack Bauer. Kiefer Sutherland. Ace from Stand By Me. Kiss my grits, you cheap dime store hood. I'm so tired right now. Oh my goodness. Paranormal Activity does not get enough credit as being as influential as it was to the entire genre of horror. It changed the game. And like, yeah, there was a bunch of sequels that, varied in quality, but Paranormal Activity was like it was a masterclass in minimalist filmmaking. It had more of a budget than like it let on, I think, but or not even I think, it's just a fact, but it did so much with so little. Like they didn't even have to show the monster. How genius is that? Like how genius is it to be able to go to the studio and be like, "Hey, we're writing this story. This is what we have in mind." And they're like, "Oh, what's the monster?" And then you describe like, "Oh, it's a demon who takes the firstborn sons of," I don't remember the deal with Toby or anything. And then in the studio execs' minds, they're going to be like, "Oh, geez, we're going to have to pay, 50 VFX artists this much for this many months of work," or whatever. But then you get to just undercut that right away and just be like, "Oh, by the way, we're not showing him at all. We're not showing the monster at all." It's genius, and it's simple, and not seeing Toby made the movie better. It not showing your entire hand is very beneficial sometimes. Same with Blair Witch. And even more so, I'd say, with the sequel, the one actually titled Blair. When I said same with Blair Witch, I was talking about the Blair Witch Project. But when I say, and so even more so with Blair Witch from 2016, they show like 3 frames or something of this creepy fucking like long-limbed monster face having thing. It was not showing the monster. Less is more in horror, I think. And they did a lot of good with a very little amount to work with in both instances. I'd say especially Paranormal Activity. Stir of Echoes, I don't remember that one enough. One time. Oh, The Ring, and then I saw Hereditary. Everybody knows my thoughts on Hereditary. If you don't, be sure to catch the episode, the premiere episode of Fright Fight, starring me and Travis Brown, where we debate the merits of Hereditary versus Midsummer. Oh my god, my hair is getting so thin. I need to get like Rogaine. They make like Blue Chew for hair. I'm gonna give my hair a boner. That's a weird fucking thing to say. I apologize. I don't know. I'm so goddamn tired. Yeah. So, moving on. The Mist. The Mist is outside the box answer, I'd say. I don't think I've ever heard someone say it's the scariest movie they've ever seen. And while it is scary, I think the thing you need to take away from it the most is that ending. I mean, shout out Frank Darabont for really getting after it, right? Like, that is the most depressing ending to a movie probably ever. Probably ever. Like, it's so bleak and so nihilistic and also so hopeful for everyone but Thomas Jane. It's seriously so sad. Let's see. In the Mouth of Madness. Classic Lovecraftian movie by John Carpenter. It's either John Carpenter or Wes Craven. I want to say John Carpenter. I'm gonna guess John. Yep, John Carpenter. That's a classic. I love that one. I love anything Lovecraft or Lovecraft adjacent, Lovecraftian. And that did not disappoint. The whole thing is just start to finish. It just oozes that kind of cosmic, not even cosmic, but just that fear of the unknown. Like, you don't really know what's going on, and this weird thing is happening. This character said this, and it sounds like it could mean something, but does it actually? And maybe it's picked up again later on in the movie, but maybe it's not. And maybe it's hinted at, maybe it's not. Like, you get all these kind of... It's one of those movies that you watch it, every time you watch it, you notice something new, no matter how many times you see it. And it's great in that regard. The Babadook. I think The Babadook is brilliant. I do. However, the kid in that movie is so... probably realistic, I think. I would guess. Probably realistic. But so annoying that it took me out of the movie completely. And it was like the kid, he just fucking cries and screams nonstop, and it's just like, oh my god, dude, like, and it was useful to the movie, like, or it was, you know, prudent to include that in the movie, and I get why they did, but it just, I don't know if maybe it would have taken some kind of toning down of that kind of element, or if they did everything exactly the right way, the way they should have, and maybe if they took anything out, the end product wouldn't be uh, as successful or as complete. I don't know, but as it stands, that kid annoyed the fuck out of me, and it took away from the horror of the movie. However, the design of the Babadook and of the book itself, genius, pure genius. Some of the best writing in a horror movie in recent memory, for sure. Yeah, it was outstanding. Once again, the Audition. Does anybody? Nope, nobody. Nobody corrects it again. The movie is called Audition. And this is another one that's less scary than it is disturbing. Needles, eyeballs, all that. But it's called Audition. There is no the. I'm going to feel really dumb if it is called The Audition. Audition Takashi Miike. Yeah, it's just called Audition. And yes, this is the same one. I've seen the fucking poster a million times. Yeah. Oh my god. Stop calling it The Audition. The Audition. I'm a crotchety old piece of shit. The Thing by Carpenter. We've talked about that on, what the fuck was that? Something just ran into my window, I think. That was creepy. We've talked about The Thing in other podcasts before. Excuse me. And it's deserving of that spot. Of being on the list. The effects alone are just second to none. Practically speaking, it's a perfect film. Storytelling wise, it's tight. The antagonist is horrifying. They did such a great job with. I mean, when the thing bursts out of the other thing, and like it has the guy's fucking thing. I'm just saying the word thing over and over because I don't want to give it away. Because if somebody hasn't seen it, I don't want to ruin it. But like, just the prosthetics and the way that they made everything come together, and like the DIY built in the garage effect of the effects is incredible. It's a movie that everyone should see at least once, I think. Like, seriously, because I don't know, it's a clinic in practical filmmaking. And, like, I'm not like a practical effects purist or anything. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I love VFX. I think VFX have elevated the medium of filmmaking and television. Like, we need CGI and VFX, but there is something very cool about practical effects that is more lost with every passing year. Some people still do it, but you see it less and less in horror. I'd say the most recent one to really put it into employ was the oh geez, 2018 film The Void, which everyone should see. 2016, I was right. Everyone should see The Void. That is another Lovecraftian movie, which also can be argued that The Thing is a Lovecraftian movie, based off of, in a way, a Lovecraft story. So let me just say I'm all here for more Lovecraftian stories being told via practical effects. Yeah, I'm always down for that. And again, the best Lovecraftian movie I've ever seen is The Endless, by Justin Benson, who follows me on Twitter, no big deal, and Aaron Moorhead. They are two of the best horror producers, and I don't mean producers in the Hollywood sense. They produce. They're two of the best people working in horror filmmaking presently. They're great. They're like, watch Resolution and then watch The Endless and then watch Synchronic and then watch Something in the Dirt and then watch Spring and then watch Moon Knight. And like, I'm big fans of theirs, if you can't tell. I don't know what you want from me. I think we got time for like one more. Oh, yeah, 51. Alright. Let's open more comments. Oh, this person had another one. Signs by M. Night Shyamalan. That was a scary movie. I don't know if I put it on scariest all time, personally. I do remember there's the scene in Signs where they're like hiding out in the basement and the little girl is standing against the wall and it's framed really weird, like no one else in the basement in any of the other shots had been framed the way the daughter was, or the son, or whatever it is. It's been a very long time since I've seen Signs, and it shows the daughter saying something, and all of a sudden you realize when they move that the entire time you've been looking at this child, there have been arms hanging down on either side of them, and then these arms like grab the kid, and it's one of the most memorable scenes in any movie ever for me. I remember being so taken aback by that when that movie came out in 99, or 2000 or something, and when I saw it, I remember that stuck with me forever. That was so good. Irreversible, we talked about Irreversible last time, and this person agrees you found it scary. It's weird, but not scary for sure. Transgressive Cinema. Come and See. I don't know that one. Sinister. Ow. So Sinister is, there was a scientific study performed. They were trying to find the scariest movie. And to do this, they hooked a bunch of whoever was participating in the experiment, the study, they hooked them up to a bunch of different machines, measured heart rate, like blood oxygen, like blood pressure, blood O2, whatever it was. They hooked it up to all this stuff to get all these vitals, and then they monitored them while they watched these different movies, and they collated all the data and found at the end of everything that the movie that scared people the most across the board was Sinister, and that is perfectly valid. That would probably be in my top 5, I'd say. Maybe even top 3. I love the idea of, I love the almost epistolary format. Epistolary means like if you're reading an epistolary novel, it's a novel told through journal entries, police reports, newspaper articles. Basically, it's like found footage, but in book format. That's what epistolary format is. It's one of my favorite ways to read, but this is almost an epistolary novel, but in film format without being a found footage movie. It's weird. But it's about a guy who finds this box of Super 8 videos, and each of them shows a different murder of a family. And some of them are just next level creative. Bagul was a creative dude. He had a vision and he saw it through, and he figured out a way. He figured out ways to make it work. He knew what he wanted, and he got after it. And look at him now. He's got a whole harem full of children no, harem sounds bad if you're talking about children. I'm just gonna stop talking right there. Sinister is creepy as shit. The lawnmower scene is particularly fucked up. The pool, I don't know, man. It's messed up. There's so many good jump scares that are well earned in that movie. Yeah, it's fantastic. Alright, we're going to do a speed round real quick. If I've seen the movie, maybe I'll mention something about it, maybe I won't, who knows. Let's give it a shot here. Alright, so Sinister was number 1. 2, Host. That is a Skype movie, basically, or, FaceTime movie, Zoom movie, whatever it is. It's along the lines of Unfriended, which Unfriended was far better than it had any right to be. Hereditary, no. The Autopsy of Jane Doe, that's one I'll talk about more at length another time. That Autopsy of Jane Doe is an outstanding film. The Conjuring 1 and 2, 3 was just stupid, you are correct. The absence of James Wan is definitely felt. The Conjuring 1 is such a simple, straightforward ghost story that it could have been, if they would have tried to do more with it, it would have been terrible. But because they didn't, and they told a story of this family at a farm who is getting haunted. That's all it is, and that's all it needs to be, and it's scary as shit. The second one is fantastic too. Valak is a great antagonist, and it led into The Nun, which we all know how The Nun went. Let's see. The Exorcist, I already talked about it. The Witch. The Witch is a great slow burn from Robert Eggers, who also directed The Northman, which was great, and The Lighthouse, which was another one I'll discuss at length another time. The Witch is great, it's a slow burn, and the Black Goat in that movie is a character unto itself. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The title is a misnomer. It is not that gory of a movie whatsoever. The poster is the scariest thing about that movie. Despite the redneck cannibal family, a la the family from Daughter's Drawings, my debut novel, coming out on July 7th. I also have the hardcover edition. To continue. The Babadook, already talked about it. I don't know if they're talking about the original or which the original from the 90s was a TV miniseries, not a movie. Fun fact, not a lot of people know that. That was dumb. I'm not good at impressions. The Hole in the Ground, I don't know that one. Alien, classic, don't know if I'd say scariest of all time. Silence of the Lambs, correct, that is more disturbing than scary. The Omen, definitely unsettling rather than scary. The Ring, yes. The Shining, absolutely. There is a constant undertone of dread in The Shining that is just present in every shot. The tension never lets up in The Shining, and it's better off for it. Wow. Yeah, it's an outstanding movie. I need to take a nap. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, no. Before I Wake, no. The Descent, already talked about. Before I Wake was a good movie. Us. Us was fantastic. Yeah, I liked Us. I know a lot of people were kind of ambivalent about it, or at least about the ending and like the big reveal of everything, but I thought Jordan Peele knocked it out of the park once again. Yeah. Lupita Nyong'o. Just give her all the Oscars. She is an acting goddess. God, whatever. She is a brilliant actor. And I always think to be able to play two different versions of the same character has got to be one of the hardest things in acting. Because you have to find a way to make them dissimilar, but also similar enough that people know they're still playing that same character. I'm like falling asleep sitting up. I think we're at about an hour. Anyways, yeah, we are. Thank you all for bearing with me while I slept through a podcast. I am so tired. I'm definitely gonna take a nap. My goodness. I love every single one of you. I am Nick Boddick, nickboddick.com, at Nick Boddick on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything. Follow me and my thinning hair. Like, share, subscribe. Oh yeah, if you could like and share this video, I should have asked that earlier. That would be great. Yeah. Thank you for bearing with me. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Peace.